This cocktail was a lot. Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette. I'm here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. Okay, so we just watched a short film. We decided to mix it up for y'all, and we watched The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. It can be found on YouTube and I don't know where else, but it's essentially just about a family of three, but there's a sinister secret in this family, and we find out that secret. And that's what the movie is about.
We very quickly learned what's strange about the Johnsons.
Yes.
I must say, I love how both of you have just this kind of defeated, deflated tone to your voice in both of your segments to start out the episode.
Anyway, here's our podcast.
And I do have to admit, everyone, so we thought, yeah, let's try a short movie just in case people want to watch a short. And I did pick this movie. I did not vet this movie. I knew nothing about this movie. All I knew was that Ari Aster, am I saying that right?
I think so.
Was the director, and he has made some of our all-time favorite movies, Hereditary and Midsummer. And so I thought, oh, a 28-minute movie by Ari Aster? I need to see no more. Let's go. I apologize.
Listen, I think that we're missing something because it's really, really well reviewed. On Reddit, someone said this is the best piece of horror I have ever seen. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe it just went over my head. Now, I do have some things to say and some thoughts on it.
Yeah.
That we'll get into. But do I think it was the best piece of horror I've ever seen? Absolutely not. No, I do not.
No.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah, should we just it's only 28 minutes. Should we just kind of run down what happens in the movie?
I think, yeah. Okay, and another thing with this movie is usually I am super adamant about not looking up anything about a movie before watching it, not knowing anything. I think there should be a warning when you watch this short. Like, I kind of wish I would have known what I was getting into. I was hoping it would just be like a horror story or, short version of Hereditary, I guess. It wasn't that.
No.
Yeah.
So it starts off strong. We just see a kid just jacking off in his room. And it's, that's a normal thing to have happen. But like the dad walks in and he's like, I'm cleaning.
Yeah.
Which I feel like everyone can kind of relate to, just that fear of, someone walking in on you when you're having some sexy time either by yourself or with someone else. That would be mortifying.
Yeah. The first 3 minutes of this short film are great.
Yeah.
The first 3 minutes are just a healthy relationship between a father and son. Like the dad is so, I don't know, like comforting, and he's like,
and
okay,
understanding.
Like, immediately like leaves, gives him his space, and he says, this is normal. Like, yeah.
He says, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah. I'll leave you to it.
Which is so great.
Yeah, everyone does this. It's great. The movie starts and you're like, aw, what a lovely relationship we're going to see develop in the next 30 minutes, probably.
Yeah.
And then immediately took that away.
After the dad leaves, you see what the kid was looking at. I can't say it.
He was looking at a picture of his dad.
Yeah.
And that's where we realize what kind of horror movie this is going to be.
Yeah.
It took me a second because at first I thought it was just a guy. And it was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a guy. And it's like, oh, no.
That's Daddy-O.
That's Dad.
We also watched just the first YouTube hit that came up of it. So Brianna and I were watching a really low quality version. So it was kind of hard to see what the picture was because it was like really like pixelated and blurry.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, that is the dad.
Oh no.
So bad. So then the son gets married. What's his name? The son, Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah gets married, and they're taking wedding photos.
Oh,
And there's a little ass grab.
I hate everything.
I hate everything.
Because the ass grab is from the groom, but it's toward his dad. Like, he's like grabbing his dad's ass while his wife is standing. Like, his wife, his mom, his wife's parents are like all standing for the
The
photo.
whole happy
For a
family.
wedding photo. Yeah.
And the dad does not seem to be enjoying it.
No.
No. Oh, no. Like, yeah.
Okay, and then I think maybe it's the in-laws, like maybe the wife's parents, or maybe it's the mom. I forget who it is.
Mhm.
She goes to look for the groom for something, and you just hear these sounds coming from behind this white picket fence, which just adds insult to injury. Like,
Yeah.
and I wrote down, okay, here's my exact quote on my notes. Sounds. No, 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 no.
Yes.
Yeah. I wrote, wait, oh no.
Yeah.
Those are my notes.
Yeah.
So is dad giving oral to the son, or is son giving oral to the dad? I blacked out at that point.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it might be the son giving.
The
Yeah.
son, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter either
It doesn't
way.
matter. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say the one thing that this short film did, do well is just say, like, here, this is what happens behind closed doors, right? I mean, we've
Right.
talked about it before, but there is nothing scarier than humans and
Human
what bad,
nature.
and how bad humans can be to each other
Exactly.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Not my favorite type of horror.
Mhm.
I like the fake stuff a lot more, where I can remind myself that it's not real.
Me too.
Right.
This one was like, hey, what if we showed you real evil in this world?
Mhm.
And, showed you what was hiding behind the pastels and the white picket fence.
Yes. Well, and
Yeah.
I do think it is an interesting way to portray evil, because I think we're so desensitized just as
Mhm.
a species to abuse of elders against youngers, or men against women. That
Yeah.
we don't bat an eye at,
Mhm.
which is absolutely freaking atrocious.
Yeah.
But then when it's a young son toward an older, what we would consider to be patriarchal dominant male, we
Mhm.
can't handle it.
Yeah.
Right.
But really, it's no worse than any of the abuse that happens in normal society. It's just
Yeah.
like it's in a different form that we can't handle.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't talk about it as much, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
mhm.
and also statistically, it does not happen very much. Like in all forms of
interesting.
abuse, that's not
Mhm.
a norm.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I
But
think that's why
also-
this
Yeah.
short film can be so hard to watch for some people, right? Is,
Mhm.
it's not something we see often. It's not something you hear about often, but, this really makes you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Thanks.
And I'm mad at you for making me watch it.
I am
Yep.
I'm sorry for both the movie and the drink.
Should we get into that?
Yeah, because I see you sipping on it, Laura, and I'm like, what in the world is that color of drink? So we need to talk about what we're sipping on tonight. Laura, why don't you go first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of hard to watch, this drink is also a little hard to drink, although not as bad as I was expecting, I must say.
No, when you hear the ingredients, it seems like it's going to be terrible.
Yeah. So I looked up a drink that had to do with, a short story, because this is a short film. And I saw one called Short Story. It's by this guy, David Yee from Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so here's what's in it. It's 2 parts gin, 3/4 parts sweet vermouth, 3/4 parts lemon juice, 3/4 parts wasabi syrup, which we made from scratch.
Nice.
Thank you very much. So the wasabi syrup is basically a standard simple syrup, just sugar and water, but then you add this wasabi powder into it. Like, my kitchen smells so weird right now.
I
It
bet.
smells awful.
Yeah. And then it's 1/4 part weak ginger syrup, which I must admit I did not have. So there's just 1/4 part ginger beer.
Oh,
I did instead.
See, I was thinking ginger beer would be better. Yeah. So I think that was a good call.
And then a bar spoonful of organic rice vinegar. Well, it doesn't have to be organic. Mine's not organic. It's just rice vinegar. And then you garnish with some seaweed, a seaweed flake, which I have done.
I love that you did it.
Yeah, I had it.
interesting.
I just had some seaweed flakes laying around the house. So I just, it is, I must say, this drink is a short story. It is a journey. Going from the making it smells like utter trash, like spicy trash.
Yeah, the wasabi.
The wasabi is
an
no joke.
interesting scent. Once you combine everything, the lemon does hide some of it, which helps.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it smells like spicy trash. It looks like dirty water.
Spicy trash.
You've got clipped on dried seaweed to it, which I got from Costco because I'm a fan of Costco.
Yes.
Here's the thing, ladies. It tastes delicious.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Somehow the rice vinegar and lemon with the wasabi and the sweetness of the simple syrup and the ginger
all comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a short story, right?
Yours looks a little better than mine. The ginger thing that I found is like a really bright color. So when I made the cocktail and I made it in a shaker, so I like mixed everything together and then poured it over ice. It looks like mellow yellow.
Nice.
Like it looks like it's like that like neon green yellow. So your dirty water, I think, looks a little more appetizing than my mellow yellow drink.
Try making it with the ginger beer. I must say it's and my ginger beer is only 2 years expired.
Oh, that's not bad.
Perfect. You want it to be a little flat.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not supposed to be carbonated. So this is the most interesting drink I have ever made, and you're welcome for my choices.
So one thing we've started doing is we've started including some mocktail drinks. I think we're going to try to do it, out during every episode. Yeah. So for this drink, I was trying to come up with something to replace the gin and vermouth. And I was thinking maybe a tea would be a good call because last time we replaced champagne with the sparkling water. So I didn't want anything to be sparkling or carbonated. So I found a roasted dandelion tea. Like dandelion root tea, because then you get like that like natural like herby flavor to it. Honestly, it is really good. So I just steeped the tea and made like an iced tea, and then combined that with all the same stuff. So the ginger, the wasabi, the lemon, everything else that was in it. It tastes like something you would buy at like a juice bar. So when I mix it all, it's really good. Like I would pay money to try this after like yoga. It
That's
just tastes
awesome.
healthy. Like this is going to cure my cold. This is,
I was going to say, it almost seems like it would have some medicinal qualities with the dandelion and the wasabi and the ginger. Like you're going to ward off any illness that should come your way the next month.
Cleared the sinuses. The throat feels great.
That's
I'm
amazing.
just, So would recommend the mocktail. I'd never tried dandelion root tea before, but it's pretty good.
Nice. Ooh.
I wouldn't not recommend this drink. It's the weirdest thing I've ever had.
Look, we're just weird this episode. It's okay.
We are really weird.
We're just weird. It's fine.
All right, well, I guess we got to get into the movie.
Let's get back into this weird movie. So where were we? We
just finished the wedding.
We just finished the BJ.
So I feel like next what we kind of have is we see that the dad, you very much get the sense in this short amount of time we've been watching this movie that the dad he's taking on this role of the victim. We then see him writing I was calling it an essay. I guess it turns out that he wrote a book.
Yeah.
A short story.
A short story, in fact.
It was a big stack.
Okay.
Which I will say, I did write down because they pause on the screen. So the dad is over here. He's writing this book, this essay, short story, whatever you want to call it. And it's titled Cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
But while he's writing it, he's like looking over his shoulder to make sure that his son is not coming to catch him. And his son is like coming into the room. So the dad's getting worried and he's trying to like shut it down. But you can see what's written. Did either of you catch what was written on this?
No.
So there's like, you can tell that there's been text above the line that you can read on the screen. But then there's the words, almost tore my mouth.
Oh.
What should I have done?
Oh my gosh.
And then it's like this, like, should I have like stopped him or turned him in? And like the dad's like wrestling with like, if I turn my son in, he's this pervert predator.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just let him abuse me is what he concludes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
Not
he
that
needs
it's
to
his
let it
fault.
out. So he's writing the story just to process or
So
I mean,
disturbing.
Yeah. So then he like prints it out and he goes and he leaves it on a bed with a note saying, Joan, forgive me. Joan is the wife, the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's not able to get it because the son has to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
The bathroom's broken. So he goes in there and he finds the manuscript book.
Mm-hmm. and the kid, Isaiah, says to the dad, what's the dad's name? I forget.
I didn't write it down.
So Isaiah says to the dad, he's like, it's almost very paternal, kind of the way he says it. He's like, I love you, but this makes it hard.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Because like he catches the dad writing this book that's going to out him.
It is very paternal.
Yeah.
Then it's New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Yeah.
So New Year's Eve, the women are making this like lovely dinner, and then like the mom says something to the wife, Isaiah's wife, like, no, you don't worry about helping, like just enjoy. And then they're all sitting down at dinner, and Isaiah is like he's kind of holding his wife's hand, I think, and they're all eating, and he's just like eye effing his dad.
Yeah.
And playing footsie.
Yeah.
And I, at this point, really wanted to quit. It's only a 28-minute movie.
I know. Yeah. They don't waste a single second
they do
in
not.
this movie is the thing. Like every second of this movie was
used.
Created to make you feel uncomfortable and to tell you the story quickly.
Yeah.
Which is why it's like, I mean, it's like you want to stop watching it, but also can't look away.
Exactly.
Like, I have horrible attention. I have a horrible attention span. So like during movies, I'll usually pull out my phone or something if I'm at home or like do something else. I don't think I looked away at all while watching this.
It happens.
You just can't, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to watch it.
So after the dinner's done, you see like, I think maybe the dad is being sweet with the mom, like sweet and loving with the mom. And so Isaiah, the son, he gets really jealous. So like you just see him and you hear him just punching this picture on the wall, like just this like full on scary aggression. But then conversely, you hear him saying to his wife, like in this sickly sweet voice, like, I'm just going to stay and help.
Oh my gosh.
You go home. I'm going to stay here with my parents and help them.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. That scene was horrible.
Okay,
is this the bathtub scene?
Let me start out with, I love the dad's bath setup. He has like soft, cushy bath mats, a beautiful tub. It looks so relaxing.
And it's like the motivational CD that he's listening to.
Yes, it's so sad.
Self-help CD, which we'll talk about in a minute.
It's so sad.
I can't say it. I've talked too much this episode already.
No.
Well, all right. We'll just get it over with. Spooky Sippers.
I'm so sorry.
If you have any sort of trigger warning, this is it.
Yeah. The thing is, they don't even show anything.
No, they don't, but you know it enough.
You know what's happening.
They show enough.
They show enough. So essentially, the dad gets sexually assaulted by the son.
Mhm.
in the bath.
in the bath.
Yeah. But we don't see any of it. Instead, it pans to the mom
Yes.
watching
Medical
like a
drama.
hospital, like medical
Yep,
drama
in the other room and turning
other
the
room.
volume up because she can hear her husband
screaming.
like screaming in the other room. She just turns the volume up and turns a blind eye. It's tragic.
And then at the end, when they flash back, you see the son coming out of the tub. And he says, like, put that in your book as he's
Yeah.
walking out. Just so cold. Just
So cold.
So callous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So then after that, I mean, I saw none of this movie coming because
Mhm.
every second of it was just,
atrocious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every time something would happen, I think I would set up some sort of expectation of what I thought was coming next. And I was wrong every time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because then
Is the
after
dad the
I'm
dad
sorry.
like is walking out of the house with he has another
his secret copy.
his secret copy.
Yes, because he got it from under the floorboard.
Mhm.
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 So he has this other copy because wait, at some point something must have happened to the book for there to be this secret hidden copy.
I
Well,
think
the son
we
took one.
knew that the son took
Okay.
the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so he's trying to sneak down the stairs with this hidden copy of the book. And Isaiah like confronts him and he's doing the total perpetrator type of
Mhm.
I'm not a bad guy
Yeah.
type of
Mhm.
speech. Like you think I'm just this abusive monster. You played a role in this too. You're not just
Yeah.
my dad, you're my friend. It's this total manipulation
Yes,
that every
exactly.
abuser
Just
does.
trying to say like, oh, like this didn't have to be a bad thing. Just
Right.
super manipulative.
So then he leaves the house, and I couldn't help but notice how much this house looked like the house in Father of the Bride, and it was such a nice, beautiful house. I was like,
Well, the
"Aw."
setup is perfect. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
just a suburban
Yes.
family.
Yeah, it's a nice, like
Yeah, like in
upper
a
class
nice
suburban family. Yeah.
white picket fence, beautiful neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a van turn the corner, right? You see it turn down the
Yes.
street
Mm-hmm.
as the dad is running out to go do something. And then he gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, his name is Sydney, by the way. This is the first
Sydney,
time I
that's
wrote
right,
his
Sydney.
name. Sydney dies.
Hit by a car.
Yeah. Bam. Done. Over.
And watching this, I was like, oh, wait, what? Like,
Yeah. Like, did that just happen?
is he okay? Like, just stupidly,
Right.
I was like, is he okay? Like, what's gonna happen next?
Mm-hmm.
What happened next is we cut to his funeral.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
He's dead. He's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
And then you see Isaiah putting on the cutest little sweater.
Oh my god.
So it was his dad's sweater. This like
Mhm.
red is Argyle the pattern?
That sounds right.
Yeah. That's Argyle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This adorable sweater. He's putting it on. And then his mom confronts him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's trying to the way that she does it is so good. That is one thing I'll say.
Mhm.
The actors in this, especially the actor who played Sydney, the dad, they were so good.
They were.
They
I
absolutely
agree.
nailed
They were.
this.
Mm-hmm.
But she tries to confront her son, but in a weird way, asking like what happened on prom night is
Yeah.
how she starts because she
Yeah.
remembers that night.
Which was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, he came home and Sydney came home and he was crying. Like, what happened? Right. So she tries to confront him in this, in a, I don't know, she's trying to ask, but not ask kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
She
Mhm.
doesn't want to ask directly, but is trying to get to what was going on.
Mhm.
And then it just gets physical.
Yeah.
Again, did not see that coming.
No, me neither.
It kind of reminded me of Pearl and Pearl's fight with her mom.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Like it reminded me a little bit. I was like, oh God, one's getting pushed into the fire.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Right. So it
Yeah.
starts with the mom, she hits him And you're like, yeah, you deserve it, you little shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then he hits her back.
I know.
He punches his mom.
Yeah.
Hard.
Like he punches her. There's like a slap fest, and I think she stabs him with a letter opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, letter opener.
And
then she's trying to grab the fire poker.
Because he's pushing her into the fire.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she does get the fire poker.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, and this is the first time in this movie I really got the same vibe that I have gotten during other Ari Aster movies, with just the brutal, raw, horrific sound.
Yes.
Fire poker going into human flesh and bone.
Yeah.
Because she just beats the shit out of him.
Right.
Yeah. Just, I mean, kills him 100%. Yeah.
And you can just hear like the wet thuds against his skull. It's awful. It is. That's awful.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, then we see that the manuscript, the book that he had written, they still had a copy. I'm assuming it's the one that he had, that Sydney had. And the mom throws it in the fire.
That's
to kind of let it burn.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
That's it.
Roll credits.
See, I thought it was going to end a lot worse. So for me, I was relieved with the ending.
Yeah.
Because what I thought was going to happen was when he put the Argyle sweater on, I thought they were going to pan to his wife. And I thought she was going to be pregnant.
Oh.
Being like, it's, and I was like, oh my, because to me, that would have been horrifying.
See, I went a different direction. I thought when he was putting on the Argyle sweater, he was going to like assume dad's identity and try to go get with mom.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking he was going to. I mean, equal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both terrible.
The end. Yeah. So it was a rough ending, but not as bad as it could have been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I will also say, this drink is a rough ending because wasabi syrup falls to the bottom.
Yeah, you need a straw or something so you can keep stirring it in.
I've been trying to stir it, but it's real spicy.
Yeah.
I can see my cheeks are getting all red.
They are getting red. That's awesome.
I'm drinking straight wasabi right now.
You don't have to drink it.
I like it. It burns so good. It burns so good.
It does kind of feel good though, in a weird way.
It does. It does. Unlike this movie.
Which is just not good at all.
Yeah. I think I do want to just justify this a little bit because I know I already mentioned that the director has just done some of our favorite movies.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that works well in Hereditary and in Midsommar is kind of the build and the development of the characters.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was too short of a film. Like they did a good job of trying and the acting was good and the story was horrific, but like they didn't give us enough time to really, I guess, connect. Yeah. Invest. Yeah. So I feel like there was kind of elements of the Ari Aster that we know and love. But it missed the mark for me.
I mean,
in this short format.
Yeah, just for setup. So Ari Aster, he made this was his thesis when he was graduating from the Film Institute of the American Film Institute, I think, AFI.
Okay, well that's a strong thesis.
So yeah, this was his thesis. So he was probably like 20 years old when he made this, which is kind of insane.
Honestly, I don't think I could take a full-length movie about this.
Oh, no.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
So I think the fact that it's a short story is fantastic because I don't think I could have handled a full-length
anymore.
film.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So part of it too was he was just kind of brainstorming like what's the worst thing you could make? a movie about, kind of in a way to go against the film institute that he was in. Cause it's like, they set you up to try to be a part of like Hollywood and like big movie stuff. And like, this was his way to say like, what's like the worst thing I could do? And just kind of come up with, what do people not want to see?
Well, he hit the mark
on screen. And this is where he landed. He came up with the idea of, that what if the child was abusing the parent, basically, and built this movie off of that.
Yeah.
I want to meet this man.
I do you though? I mean, yeah,
I do. I really do. I feel like, how there's that question of like, if you could have 5 people living or dead, invite them over to dinner. I feel like he's got to be one of them because his mind is so fucked.
Yeah, like between this and Hereditary, like
yeah.
Like, does he have siblings? Because like I want to talk to them too.
And honestly, Midsummer,
Midsummer.
Midsummer haunts me. I still think about that movie all the time.
Yeah. I think we need to let the Spooky Sippers know that we did dress as Midsummer.
We did.
I'm
actually, how have we not done Midsummer or Hereditary yet?
I think we're saving them.
Like, we need to do it.
So good.
We need to do it.
We should probably post some pictures.
We should probably do Midsummer and then we can post all of our pictures with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we should. On fire.
Go get some water or something.
I have some, but I just keep wanting to drink this drink. It's just so murky, appealing.
Your murky, spicy water.
So I'm guessing that we have a pretty good psychoanalysis coming our way with this one. So should we dive into that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And don't forget, folks, she's not a real doctor, but it's okay because thank God in this case, they are not real people.
Yes, definitely.
Clearly, this movie is about incest. We did talk a lot about incest during Barbarian. So, so we, since we already talked a lot about incest during Barbarian, I'm not going to go too much more into what we already discussed then. So if you need a background on some psych for incest and like some stats, go listen to that episode.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about some of the psychology of parents of incestual sons.
Oh, okay.
We get that with this movie.
Yes.
So there was actually a study way back in 1988. But there's some classic characteristics of parents of incestual or abusive sons. So one thing is that they typically will underreport. Parents will typically underreport the physical and sexual abuse of their sons. And there's a lot of reasons why. Some of it can be denial. Some of it can just be that they're naive. They don't realize what's going on. A lot of times parents of sons that become incestual and abusive, the parents themselves have a higher incidence of also being abused, which is really interesting because whether the parents are abusive or not, they themselves have been abused and then they have a child who then becomes abusive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that really just leads to a lot of this like inability to learn healthy coping mechanisms for what emotions you're going through. Because if you don't learn that they're normal, kind of like the dad was trying to do at the beginning of this movie, like your emotions, your feelings, your desires are normal. If you don't learn healthy ways to cope with them, you kind of just get this unhealthy pattern and perpetuation of these like really just abusive, unhealthy things.
Yeah.
There's also just a high level of denial regarding their son's behaviors. So in this study, and the study is super old, but it still is referred to a lot right now, or not like right now, modern day. Only 50% of parents totally admitted to their son's incestual behavior. Like sons who legit.
Wow.
Like, and most of the time, and we kind of talked about this in Barbarian, most of the time it's, sibling to sibling.
Right.
But parents, like half of them, half of them just were in complete denial.
Just denied. Mm-hmm.
They just chalked it up to, oh no, they're just experimenting. The kids are just experimenting.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the perpetrators, the sons themselves, or just perpetrators of incest in general. So there was this like really giant study. It like interviewed all of these people who participated in incest. Almost all of them defined it as love and care. Like it wasn't taken advantage. It wasn't I did anything wrong. It's like I loved them and I cared for them.
Oh,
Interesting.
And they also like described their behavior as fair and considerate.
Oh, wow.
So like this complete denial that like this cannot be consensual if it's sibling to sibling, you're both minors, or you're not a minor, they are, or you're
Yeah.
not like, it's all like, no, I love them, I care for them. So it's like they don't get that disconnect of you can't love and care for someone you're taking advantage of, which I think we see in Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
Like he talks about, I love you, Dad. I just don't have to like you right. Like, I love you. I just don't have to like you right now or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he sees it as he and his dad have a loving friendship and relationship. He doesn't see it that he's abusing his dad.
Yeah. I think he says, right? Like, oh, like you're my friend, like you're my best friend, you know, And we definitely get the denial from the parents.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you can tell from Sydney that he is not feeling it's mutual, but Isaiah, like most perpetrators, that he's going to describe it as he thinks it's the incest is mutual romantic love.
Yeah.
That's what they see it as. They don't even just see it as like sex. They see it as romantic love.
Yeah.
But although they see it as mutual and, you know, everybody's happy, they also consistently will have a refusal to stop when the victim says, I don't want this anymore. So clearly the dad has said, you know, I don't want this anymore. But the defining characteristic of the perpetrator is like, they're still not going to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty messed up. Okay, so let's talk about types of incest. What was interesting to me is when incest is biologically related, 90% of victims will show clinically significant distress. This would be compared to like if it's a stepdad, like stepsister, stepdad, stepmom, stepson.
Okay.
Then it still is high. Victims or, you know, survivors are going to show a high level of distress, but it's 90% when it's like blood relative, which is significant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this study was of women survivors because most of the time, survivors of incest or familial sexual abuse, it's going to be women.
Yeah.
And we already talked about it. That's why this movie like freaked us out so much, because you're not used to having it be like man to man and young to old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bigger age difference between a victim and survivor is the most important factor in the survivor saying this was a negative experience. Because actually, not a high amount, but like I think like a third amount of siblings, when it's like sibling to sibling, the survivor, not the perpetrator, they actually don't even rate the experience as negative.
A third is pretty high.
Yeah, it is. Right?
That's pretty high.
But but that's, I think, like, so if they're kind of the same age, if the age gap is pretty big, there's a much higher chance of them saying, yeah, this was not good. This is not interesting. This was a bad experience. So that's the first reason why people will say it's a negative experience. The second is if it was forced.
Yeah.
Rather than neutral, which obviously.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third is just the nature of the sex act itself is going to define if they experienced it as negative or as positive. So I'm guessing that probably just defines like what the person was already comfortable with doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If it went beyond their boundaries, they're going to say this was a negative experience. If it was in their boundaries, they're going to maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But consequences of being a survivor of incest, so we could say that this would impact the dad.
Mhm.
Even though, again, most studies are going to be of younger women because that's mostly what happens.
Mhm.
Low self-esteem.
Mhm.
You're more likely to experience other types of abuse in your life.
Mm.
Problems with long-term relationships, which we do see in the dad.
Yeah.
Like he
Mhm.
has problems with his relationship with his wife because is he in love with his son? Is he just enabling his son? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's my little like shallow dive into incest just because we went into it a little bit more
No,
already
I think that was
with
I think that
barbarian.
was great for this.
Yeah.
Short
And I have
story, short analysis.
exactly.
Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
one other short analysis into self-help books because that was kind
Oh,
of a big
yes.
thing.
Let's get into that.
So I'm a pretty skeptical person. And I know that I have studied psychology and a lot of people are skeptical of that themselves. But self-help books are one of those things where just because like I'm fascinated by the idea of like cults and multi-level marketing and just people taking abuse of
Mhm.
other people just because I feel like it's an extreme form of human behavior.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that's what self-help books are.
Sometimes.
So typically the primary goal of self-help books isn't necessarily to like get rid of psychological disorders in the person reading them. It's more to enhance your functioning
Mm.
and your personal
Mhm.
strengths.
Yeah.
That's typically what self-help books in general are going to go for.
Mhm.
Have either of you ever read a self-help book? I have.
Don't
I
know if I
have.
have.
I have.
I have.
I've read one that I thought was pretty good and one that I was like,
Mhm.
this is bullshit. So, um, common themes of self-help books would be personal growth,
Mhm.
relationships, and coping with stress and identity.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only one to be skeptical of self-help books. It kind of, you have to kind of like, it's the same thing as when you're going through research is you have to really realize where is the source? Where is the funding for this book coming from or going to?
Mhm.
Right.
Is it
Yeah.
genuinely for help and for, like from someone who knows what they're talking about, or is it just to make money? Like
Mhm.
I am saying this right now with having done zero research, but I'm guessing The Secret book
Yeah.
was all just profit funding
Yeah.
to her
I
fund.
think that's a safe bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys remember when that was a big
I
thing?
do.
It was so big. Like Oprah was like, "Oh my god, it changed my life." And then like everybody was like, "Oh, it's so amazing. Like you can like it just seemed very voodoo like
Yeah.
yes."
And you know what though? If it works for you, like great, right? Like I
Right.
don't know, like maybe if someone did read this and came through it to like a realization and it made them happier, like that's great.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
totally. It's the same thing I would say like with so for me, meditation and yoga is
Yeah.
super helpful.
Mhm.
Sure, some people might be like, that is BS. You're just sitting in a room sweating with all these other sweaty people and like listening to someone go, oh, like it's
Yeah.
stupid. But for me, it works.
It
So it
works.
doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It doesn't matter if there's science behind it. But you just
Yeah.
have to be an educated consumer.
Yeah.
There you go. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. If they tell you the secret is to go buy something, like maybe just think about it before you
Exactly.
go buy it, you know?
Very
Because
fair.
one of the critiques with self-help books is that they can at times do more harm than good. So
Mhm.
if they get you to do things or believe in things that are
Mhm.
kind of more nefarious or just take advantage of your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. But there is also evidence like bibliotherapy, which is different than just reading a self-help book on your own.
Mhm.
If a therapist uses books, that's what bibliotherapy is. If a therapist
Oh.
uses books to kind of help in their therapy with their clients, it can be very effective. There's so many studies about effect. Like I use books
Mm.
in
Mhm.
my therapy with kids. And it's a really good way, and it's very like supported to use that, but it's different if you're just kind of like buying a book on your own. You don't know what you're doing.
What like kind of books? Or is this like specific to a person, like something that
Yeah.
would help them or yeah.
Yeah. So like, for example, when I've done bibliotherapy with kids, there's that one author who does a bunch of books where it's stories. It's almost like a kid's book that you remember reading when you were small, but it's all about like various coping skills.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like
Yeah.
what to do when someone's bullying you, but then you use it as someone trained in therapy, like you use it rather than just reading, you then are able to use it as a therapeutic tool.
Yeah.
To like be able to help the kid, or especially with grief. Books on grief for like kids and adolescents is something that's just so huge and can really, really help them. And there's just studies that show that it's very effective.
Yeah.
It just kind of matters how you use it.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, so self-help books, take them with a grain of salt or a swig of wasabi, and they can be used for good. They can be used for evil. But really, I think it's like Brianna, like you said, it's like all in how you use them.
Yeah.
Well, Brianna, what was your experience with you don't have to say what it was, but like, did you find it positive? Did you feel like it was a scam?
I've read quite a few.
Yeah.
The ones that I have found to be the best are ones that are written by professionals in that particular field. So like, for instance, there's one that I read that is from a practicing therapist, and that one was really fantastic because she's active in her field. And so I feel like she knew what she was writing about. Whereas, ones that I've read that are not by professionals are maybe not quite as informed. And so I feel like maybe don't have quite as good of information.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I was just curious.
like check the author, vet the author, and see like what they've got backing them up. And that can make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's just good advice in general. If you're trying to learn anything from a book, maybe like check who wrote the book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like they don't have to be a doctor of psychology by any means, but just maybe, a professional in their field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just use it concurrently with also going to therapy, because we've already talked about this before. Therapy's amazing.
Everybody should go to therapy. My therapist is my favorite person.
Yeah.
In fact, I got her to start listening to our podcast.
Oh my gosh. She's going to have so much insight into us now. Oh no, she's going to judge my psychoanalysis.
Oh my gosh, no. If we get a 1-star review, we're going to know who it was.
She's going to be like, take this woman's license
down. You've made the joke from Parks and Rec so much that every time you say like your therapist, Brianna, I'm like Dr. Richard Nygaard.
Yeah, her name is Dr. Richard Neidiger.
Okay, so I don't know that we've told this story. We're gonna just like give so much business to our dentist right now. But that story, so in Parks and Rec, his name is Dr. Richard Nygaard. We see him 5 times a week or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I said his name.
So wait, you guys though, we all go to the same dentist, me, Brianna, and our parents. And his name is Dr. Richard Neidiger.
Oh,
yes, like that is his legitimate name.
Every time I go to the dentist, I'm like, oh, Dr. Richard Neidiger, I see you 5 times a day.
Like, 5 times a day.
Wild.
He's not a therapist. He's great at dentistry.
No, but he's a great dentist.
Because he makes me feel heard, which is a little bit like a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys.
You're so
You're
red.
very red.
I'm breaking out in hives.
Very toasty.
So you're so red.
Shit. Okay. All right.
So maybe like don't drink any more wasabi.
Okay.
Your body's rejecting it.
It is. Sorry, spooky sippers. You can't see it, but feel it. I'm hot. Anyway.
Yeah. We're not responsible for any negative reactions your body might have to this drink.
I'm not stopping. I'm still going.
It's commitment.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to be a shorter episode. Are we ready to give our sips?
I think so.
A short episode is perfect for a short film.
Okay. So here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars, we give sips. Oh, so y'all, how many stars are you going to give this film?
Oh God. Well, I guess I picked it, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll be the first to go.
Okay.
I had high expectations knowing Ari Aster's work. Now realizing that this was his thesis, I have a bit more respect for it. But I have to say, I didn't find it scary. Like psychologically, it's messed up, right? But I didn't find it scary. But I also didn't invest too much in the characters, so like I couldn't recommend it. I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah.
And that's a generous
yeah.
2. I'm giving it a generous 2.
No, I do think knowing that he made it so long ago and that this was kind of the first, big project, you see the potential in this movie. I think for sure. I get why. I'm pretty sure it was this short film that got the attention of A24 for him to go on and make Hereditary, Midsommar and stuff. But yeah, I just, I didn't love it. So I was also thinking a 2 for my rating.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I believe in the horror of human nature. I think it can be some of the most terrifying acts of horror can be human nature. So I have to give it credit for that. And it was a well done short film, especially for what I'm assuming is the budget. It was very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to just go a little bit higher and give it a 2.5.
Okay.
That's what my rating is. It's not quite a 3 for me. If I knew who I was recommending it to, I would recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is one that, I think it actually helps to know what you're going into. I don't think everyone would enjoy this.
No, will I recommend it to my parents? No. No, I will not.
No.
We all went in blind, which I think was a little brave of us or
really
stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I looked it up for just like a little bit online, and there were so many people who went into it thinking, like, seeing Ari Aster, and they made their like partner or whatever sit down and watch it with them, because it was like, oh, he made Hereditary and Midsommar, and then their significant other got mad at them because it was like, why would you make me watch this? That was awful.
That's very upsetting. Yeah.
It's okay. We're gonna make it up, because next time we're going to watch the classic ghost story, The Others. This is one of my personal favorite films. So if you haven't seen it yet, get watching and get sipping. And we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spookysips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.